Good morning, afternoon, evening, people. Hopefully you can hear me this time. This is a live stream where I am opening the floor to all your questions. And normally we discuss metaphysical stuff here. But tonight I want to, can you hear me, Jackie? Give me a yay or a nay. Yeah, so I'm really just opening up the floor to you guys to talk about. Good, sounds good. To talk about anything. I just felt really drawn to speak to you guys. I just want to say thank you to all of you for your support, watching my videos, sharing them, subscribing. You know, it's taken me a long time to build this up. We're nearly at 4,000 subscribers now, and yeah, so much love to you. And yeah, so I'm really just opening the floor to you guys to ask any questions. We can go metaphysical, into the unseen, the fourth dimension, entities, overlays, implants, or we can go to things which are 3D, the craziness that we're seeing now with some of these, you know, that apparently this ISIS leader has been killed for about the fourth or fifth time in as many years. This guy has actually apparently been killed before. Just goes to show how much attention people pay to things when the same guy has died 3 or 4 times. But actually, there's an important. I have a train of thought actually with this whole ISIS thing. I'm just going with the flow, going where I feel drawn. And so we've got this Trump calling out this so-called murder of the ISIS leader. If any of you follow Oli Damagard, he was talking about Oli Damagard is like the go-to guy when it comes to false flags. He's been right about many of them before, and he's also managed to stop ones from happening as well by spreading awareness. And he has had some information that they are planning a new 9/11, and it's going to be in Europe, and it's going to be over 6 cities, including also potentially a nuclear site in northern Sweden. And he has very good information about this. And when I heard Trump had announced this killing of the ISIS leader, and the way he announced it as well, in the fact that he described this leader as dying like a dog, which is a very strange way to describe anyone's death, even if he was a so-called ISIS leader, which we know ISIS is funded by Western governments, supported by the US. And so when I woke up yesterday morning, the picture came together, because I thought, well, it would make sense. They definitely need a new 9/11, because too many people are waking up right now. There's so much information coming out now. People are not believing the mainstream media. And more, you know, people that I used to speak to 3 or 4 years ago that were calling me crazy are now saying, you know what, I think you were onto something. So that they need something like a 9/11, because they want to lock down the internet. The internet is a big problem for them. I think they made a really big mistake when it came to the internet. I don't think they expected us to kind of turn the tables and use it against them like we have. And as much as they're shadow banning people, and you know, they're making things even more obvious, because they're just deleting channels, deleting truth channels. It's just making people pay more attention. So they're slipping up. There's fires all over the place, bushfires all over the place, and there's almost too many for them to put out right now. So it stands to reason to me that potentially a new 9/11 would be required if you're wearing their shoes and you want to lock down humanity. Now would be a good time to do that. And so when Ollie Damagard mentioned this attack over 6 cities, and then we got Trump coming out with this whole, you know, the killing of the ISIS leader, I'm just thinking that maybe there's going to be a quote unquote revenge attack from ISIS, and this is going to be used as some kind of way to lock us down. So I'm not saying it is going to happen. A lot of people have been talking about this, including, as I say, Ollie Damagard, whose channel also got deleted, by the way. I actually did an interview with him that you can find on my channel around 2 years ago, where we were speaking about all of this. And he called this out. He called this out a week or so ago. And so there's a few people talking about the potential of this. And so keep your eyes on the prize, people. If something big happens right now, and it's linked into ISIS, we know what it's all about. So yeah, just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. Maybe you've already had the same kind of insights or thoughts. Be great to get your comments on this. What do you think about it? Yeah, I just start with that. But as I say, this is a complete open forum, because I'm actually feeling really excited, because I do, for the first time 3 or 4 weeks ago, I felt a shift, and I felt energetically something's happening. And yeah, like I say, more and more people seem to be becoming aware. So I just wanted to log in and see what you guys think, if you've got any questions about the research that I do. Yeah, let's have a look, see what we've got here. So, you know, something clear, good. Oh, hi Jackie, hi Troy, hope you're doing well. Hi Lucy, hi Kim, all the way in Canada. I live in Israel. They say there are Anunnaki aliens in Syria and reptoids behind Iran, and Gog and Magog coming soon. Is this true or fake news? Well, I mean, this is a really deep rabbit hole. It's a good first question, because it will probably take some time to answer. But there's certainly reptilian interdimensionals, and if you believe what is out there, these dumb bunkers, apparently, where they're cloning people, cloning celebrities, and rappers and things like that. There is apparently behind all of that, behind the heavy Illuminati members like the Queen and Rockefellers and Rothschilds, there is apparently a reptilian force behind them that are kind of running the show. So it is quite possible. I definitely know they exist interdimensionally, because I remove them in sessions. There's definitely a link. I mean, you know, I've spoken before about perhaps we're kind of a hybrid. I mean, we have the reptilian brain, which is I think they gave us their brain, you know, where it's reactive, it's fight or flight, it's stress, and we know that they need stress and anxiety and fear to feed on as food. So the fact that we've got their brain would indicate that there's certainly a reptilian agenda behind all of this. And certainly if you have seen some of these videos where there's shape-shifting going on, certain newsreaders where the eyes turn, there's some really weird pictures of the Queen and her eyes, and it really just looks, I mean, when I look at the royal family, I just see a family of lizards. You know, they just look reptilian. So definitely, in my opinion, there's a reptilian force behind all of this. So whether that's interdimensionally and physically as well is up for debate. If you look into the work of Phil Schneider, who was actually murdered shortly after he came out with all of this, he also said that during his work, he actually ended up in some of these bunkers, and there was reptilians, and there was a big fight and stuff going on, and he was actually killed for saying all of this. So it certainly sounds like it could be true. Lamoka, hi Lamoka, how you doing? Jackie, I'm surprised it's not happened yet. Yeah, I am. I'm really surprised. It's I know they have certain times of the year, certain dates of the year. We're coming up to Halloween now, guys. So we know how they use that day. This is a day that, excuse me, a lot of their rituals are done, and so it wouldn't surprise me if there was something around that date. I think it's a whole period of a couple of weeks where energetically a lot of things happen. So yeah, it is surprising, but the problem is they're struggling to get what they want now. It's not as easy, whereas before, even if you look at 5 or 6 years ago, if there was a false flag, everyone would fall for it. No one would question it. People were still believing what the mainstream media were saying without investigating other sources. Things have changed now. There's so many people that don't trust the official version. They don't trust the politicians that are putting in front of us. And so, I mean, I also think that they wanted a third world war. Probably a year or two ago, I remember living in London in 2016 or something, and they were invading Syria, and there was a huge push. I know eventually they did go into Syria, but people know now that these boogeymen that keep appearing, it's all part of the facade, and what they want to push through is not as easy as it used to be for them. So they're struggling, and what they're trying to do, and I mentioned this on a recent podcast with Adam Kraz, is they're trying to push things through so quickly now that people who weren't paying attention before are starting to look up from their screen and think, hang on a minute, what's going on here? I mean, look at all this climate change with Greta, who's funded by what's his name? I always forget his name. Not the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. Soros, and you got her mum that's performing at Eurovision with all those dancers doing the one eye thing, and yeah, and like that just the whole climate change just really, I know it's been there for a while, but it's really burst onto the scenes just in the last few months, and people are going, what? We're all gonna die in 12 years, and they're telling our kids that the planet's gonna finish in 12 years. And then you've got this whole transgender, and drag queens turning up at schools teaching kids about transgender and how they're educating children about touching themselves. And so you've got this real perversion of children's minds. Again, I've said this before. I'm sure that there are, and I think the stats are like 1 in 8,000 or 7,000 unfortunate souls that feel like they're born in the wrong body. But this is an over manipulation of children's minds to put them in fear that the planet is going to end in 12 years, and also confuse them about their gender when they were never confused before. If you guys haven't seen it, I did a video about all of this about 2 videos back with Adam Kraz, The War on Children. Look it up, and I go into all of this in depth. It's really, so it was such a hard video to do because it's such a horrible thing to talk about. But as I said in that video, if we as a society can't protect our children, then we've all failed. But yeah, my point is that they're trying to push through all this stuff so quickly, and people are just, they're looking above their TVs and going, what the hell? What is going on here? So as wacky as it seems on the surface, I think, it's also having a positive effect on human awakening. And I also see this in the work that I do in terms of you know, the etheric realms in terms of clearing energy and stuff, sessions, how these entities and interdimensionals and distorted forms of consciousnesses really are getting worried. They're causing a lot of interference. They're trying to hijack people and you know, really mess with people in dreams sometimes. And you know, so there's a real, this is going on across like all these different dimensions. And I see them panicking. I see them panicking in 4D, and I see them panicking in this 3D physical realm as well. And that excites me, you know, because if they're panicked, then we're on the right lines. And so a lot of people come to me, they feel disempowered. They're kind of like, what can I do? You know, look at what we're getting somewhere, guys, and we need to bear that in mind, because before any kind of peace or I don't know, stability or change, always precedes chaos. And if you look in your own life, I can bet you that your worst nightmares, when you look back, ended up being a really great gift. And I think this is what we're going through. It might be a bit chaotic. We might see things intensify. We've got to be prepared for everything, but we can't approach it with fear. We are going through times and changes perhaps never seen before on this planet. And you know, it's the many versus the few. So we are the many, and it's like the tail wagging the dog, and we just need to realize that we are the dog. So what we got going on here in the chat? Troy, is a fifth dimension a matrix setup? Good question. I think that there are matrices within matrices, and I think it's going to be like a domino effect. I think once we bring one down, they're all coming down. So everything that is not of the light, and that's the real light, not the false white light, and truth, is starting to collapse. And so I think that applies to all these perhaps fake AI dimensions that are traps. Basically, the fourth dimension is definitely a trap. That's why they want everyone going in there with psychedelics and astral traveling and all that stuff. The skies are being bombarded with chemicals here in Tennessee. I witnessed myself a weird mechanical sunset. Yeah, they've been doing that for years. The chemtrailing, they're also doing it at night now. So sometimes you can wake up. Where I lived in the UK, it was terrible, really, really bad. But you know, I've spoken about this before. The reason that they're doing all of this and the Wi-Fi, the chemtrails, and the radiation of the planet is because they need that kind of low vibrational. They need that low vibrational energetic field. It's to mess with the electromagnetic field. So they need that dense, because these forms of consciousnesses behind the world leaders and everything like that, they need a dense environment to exist. So and as we raise our frequency, and if we do that in enough numbers, it's like tuning out. So let's just say that we're on radio 2 and we're going to radio 3 as we raise our frequency. Well, then if we're at radio 3, then radio 2 can no longer affect us. So as much as we're seeing all of this stuff and it's very damaging and everything like that, it's going to be hopefully too low vibrational once we raise our frequency and consciousness. Food, you mean loosh? Yeah, I mean loosh. Yeah, like energetic food, energetic loosh. They feed on our fear, our anxiety, our worries. And those of you that have been following me for a while will know that these interdimensionals loop these these thoughts around, and they're locking in via the chakras, which is just an artificial overlay, artificial plug. And they also have technology that kind of heightens your subconscious wounds as well. So thought projection, psychotronic weapons in 4D, which I've done a video about as well. So yeah, like thought projections, thought injections. And this is why it's important to clear up your subconscious wounds, because they hook in on your subconscious wounds and will ramp up those feelings and thoughts. Perhaps if you've got a subconscious belief system of feeling unworthy or not good enough, then that can be used against you to create more loosh, as you say, which provides them more food. And then you see this playing out on the wider level with all the wars, the poverty, the trauma and everything, that the TV constant negativity, because that also generates the negative energy that they need to survive on. So it's quite sad, really. I mean, imagine being a being that needs negative, low vibration energy to survive. And that's the ironic thing. They think they're all powerful when they need to survive on basically our feces, if you think about it. So Halloween, November the 11th. Yeah, dazzling views. Yeah, look out for these dates. Potentially something's going to happen. Potentially we might stop it. Like I say, people are talking about this a lot. So spread the word, guys. Spread the word. It's all about overthrowing the stability of society. Certainly is. But you know what? I don't necessarily think we're very stable as it is. I mean, this is the thing with people that still want to have a leader and still believe in authority. And I was quite surprised the other day, because on social media I put a post out, and it was about Donald Trump, and I couldn't believe how many people still think that this guy's going to save the planet. And I said to someone, I said, even if Donald Trump was this savior that you think he is, you still believe in somebody else having the right to rule over you. And you still believe in a dark suit to make decisions on how to run your life. And it's that so essentially you still believe in authority, which equates to slavery. Because when we are born here, we have the divine universal right that we are our own leaders. We already have our rights, and we already have rights are not given to us by people in dark suits, particularly not pedophiles and warmongers. And so we really need to get out of this belief in authority. And people say, oh, well, without like government, there'll be chaos, or without, we might need them short term because people aren't ready and to wake up, and there'll be chaos and blah, 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 blah. Well, let's have a look at, shall we? We already live in chaos. We have these satanic, ritualistic pedophiles starting wars, telling us what to do, stealing our taxes, making stupid laws about banning nature. Is that not chaos? How much more chaotic can it get, right? So, all right, it might not be easy or straightforward. And as I already said, before any kind of great change, there is chaos. So I'm willing to go through that. And I don't think that we should fear that. And I think we should all be prepared to, if things get a little bit heated for a couple of years, if that means that the next generation of children and their children and their children's children and their children's children and so on don't have to live under this Orwellian nightmare, then so be it. So the whole idea of there'll be chaos if we don't have government is ludicrous, because we already have chaos. And everything starts in the mind. So there is no way that we're ever going to be free whilst we still believe in authority and rules and regulations from leaders and people like that. Of course, in the early days, it's, you know, there's going to be people that might abuse that if there was no leaders or authority. But you know where we're heading, if we're looking to raise our consciousness, become more heart-based, as this stuff falls apart, then maybe we'll realize that we need to work together with each other, more loving. Maybe I'm just talking about a utopia. I'm just trying to explain how, you know, we already have chaos, and that stems from an inherent belief in authority and government. And unless we, I mean, I talk about a lot of metaphysical stuff on this channel, and that is where a lot of this is rooted. But we also have to change that mindset, because we're not slaves. And while we believe in authority, we'll always continue the condition of slavery. So it's a really important point that needs to be spoken about. What else have we got? Dazzled and confused. Oh, I've got loads of questions here. Hang on. Let me go back. Never trust. Have you noticed the mountains have an effect on clearing the skies? Yeah, Orgon. Good point. And that's why they're cutting down the trees with the 5G, isn't it? Because the 5G can't permeate the trees. So yeah, nature is a very strong transmuter of distorted energy, which is why, you know, they do so much to destroy it. So yeah, that's a good point. We should all go and live in the mountains. I've got crazy energy that follows me. I've noticed he's spraying in the mountains. Spraying in. Yeah, I think never trust. Your question is answered by Organ. Oh, he has answered you. Yeah, they spray near the mountains, and Organ's saying, yeah, because they clear the chemtrails, or they're doing something. So astral manipulation really seems to ramp up for me in the last few months. Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that with clients as well, Kim. You know, particularly those of us that are looking beyond the veil. We've just it's, you know, they're panicking in that dimension as they are in this dimension. So they're going to be just like things are being ramped up here, it's being ramped up in 4D as well. So if you are experiencing you know, more, yeah, as you say, astral manipulation, then that will be one of the reasons why. So I can't remember my dreams. Well, there'll probably be implants and stuff with the dreams. If you can't remember any of them, I know that they have technology also to wipe the memory, so that could also be going on depending on, you know, your blueprint. Really, some people are more targeted than others. Thank you. Yes. How do they project the thoughts? So they have technology. This is partly the stuff that I remove in my sessions. Things like amplifiers, different devices. These are etheric implants. So yeah, if you look at my video on psychotronic weapons, which is I did it about 3 weeks ago, I talk about all of that stuff there. So they use, as I say, they use your subconscious wound, and then they'll inject thoughts around that or project thoughts around that, to create more of that anxiety and fear, that loosh that they need to generate food, basically, or the loosh is the food. Social media likes and dislikes, or hate, duality. Well, I agree with Tony. I think these entities feed on lower vibrations. Yeah, they do. They do. They need all this low. I mean, look at the rituals that these elite do. I mean, it's all, you know, we don't need to go into it too much today, but, you know, it's all torture and killing and all that stuff, and well, maybe we do need to go there, but there's a chemical in the blood called androgen or something, androgen, and it's apparently it's like I don't know, it's like drinking 100 cans of energy drink or something to them, and it makes it also de-ages them, or doesn't de-ages, it doesn't de-age them, but it makes them it slows the aging process down. This is why you see so many of the royal family and some of these like high level politicians, and Rockefeller and Soros, and like they just live for years and years and years, and they never, have you noticed they never get cancer as well? None of these people ever get cancer because they know that they know what the cure is. It's only the peasants that get cancer. So yeah, there's something about and if you go really deep, there is something about the blood before puberty in children. Yeah, very, very dark subject. And in these rituals, obviously, it's also the adrenaline as well. I think that's where that chemical comes from. And of course, there's a lot of fear and stress and loads of fear. So they're all having a feeding session down there, and I think essentially they need rituals to survive. But it's all coming to the light. I mean, there's so many people talking about it and exposing it now. It's not going to go on for much longer. I've started getting clips like movies in my head. Sometimes I see stuff before it happens, and sometimes it's just nonsense. Well, you might have some psychic abilities there. If you can see, mystic. I mean, we all have psychic abilities. It's just a lot of humans have become disconnected from their psychic abilities, and we don't practice them. Clairvisual, clairsentient, clairaudio. Everyone has gifts. It's just we're so disconnected from them. So we sometimes we get glimpses. So you might be seeing timelines. And yeah, it could be some interference as well. But you should really write them down or monitor them and see if they come to light. Take notice of them. That is great perspective. Thank you. You're welcome. Sometimes they run about 45 seconds, 10 minutes to 10 seconds. Yeah. Spread the word. It's crazy shirt. I've been heavy returning me on social. Even though the Bible has been messed with, it still is relevant. Yeah, I think with the Bible, it's allegories, isn't it? So there's a lot of truth in those religious books, but I think the problem has been that people take them literally. When you look at stories like Noah's Ark and things like that this guy got 2 species of every animal on the planet onto one boat. I feel like that was to do with like DNA splicing or something like that. It was just, these books talk in allegories. So if you don't take them literally, there's a lot. I mean, you look at the Revelations in the Bible. I mean, God, how much of that is coming to light at the moment? But I think the problem is that people take these stories literally, and did Jesus actually exist, or is he just is it just a frequency or a state of consciousness? To me, it's more of a state of being in the world, and being what Jesus represented. So standing in truth, having the courage to speak up, all these kind of qualities that he had in the Bible. Maybe he was real, maybe he did walk the earth. I mean, it's another subject all on its own, but I feel like religion is it blocks the connection to God, because it comes, or the universe as I like to refer it to, because it comes with the rule book, and when you and worship. I mean, when I think about a God, if I was God and I was the creator of everything, I'd created the oceans, the mountains, the whales, the sea life, the insects. Would you really need worshipping after creating all that? I mean, it's a little bit narcissistic. And we know with all these false white light beings that people are worshipping, giving their energy to, archangels and you know, all these aliens and all this stuff, that there's a lot of deceivers. So maybe this religious god is a deceiver, and there is a real underlying god or universe, an undercurrent. But I don't think it's you look at other faiths, you know, where some religions where you have to get up at 4 in the morning to you know, to worship a god. I mean, can you imagine, like, if you were God, right, I want you to get up while you're in the middle of your sleep, get up at 4 a.m. I mean, you know, to me that is not a god I want to be associated with. A real god wouldn't have rules and regulations, and so I think religion, there's a middleman, and I think when you take out the religion, the middleman, that's when there's no boundaries, because I think the actual word religion in Latin means religare, which means to or basically to box the mind, something along those lines. I've forgotten exactly, but and that's what it does, in my opinion. But you know, there are some good things if you take it in terms of allegories and not 100% literally, in my opinion. What else have we got going on? Oh, we frozen. Why can't I go down? Oh, it looks like the chat's frozen. So I'm sorry if I don't see. Oh, here we go. Oh, we've got a whole load more. Oh, okay. So just see the super chat there. Gaia's love child. Thank you so much for the tip. Really appreciate that. That will go back into the channel, creating content. Thank you so much for that. And adrenochrome, I can't even say it. Adrenochrome, that's it. Yeah, I don't know what I said. Adrenochrome, yeah. And actually, on that, I think it's the film Toy Story or something, there's reference to this, you know, to this chemical in some films as well. There's reference to this chemical as well. What are your thoughts on spontaneous remote viewing? I definitely think that is possible. I've done it before. I think, and again, I don't think that something like remote viewing is a speciality where just 1 or 2 people can do it. I think we all have the ability to do it, but firstly, we don't even know it exists, most of us. And secondly, we don't practice it. With all of these abilities, these psychic abilities, it's like working out. If you don't use your muscles, they're going to get weak. It's like discipline. Discipline is also a muscle. And I've experienced this in my own life when I've done like long water fasts or, you know, different kind of therapies that have really challenged me. It's allowed me to be more disciplined in other areas of my life. And so that's also a muscle. So these abilities that we're seeing now, remote viewing being one of them, I think that we all have that potential. And I know they don't want people remote viewing because there's people that I've researched that have been remote viewing Mars and, you know, what's going on there with cloning and these underground bunkers. And humans have so many different has anyone seen that film Lucy? That film Lucy tells us a lot about what humans have, our true ability. And you know, they say that how much of our DNA is junk? You know, I forget what it is now, 98%. That's BS. So I believe we're telepathic. I believe we can teleport. I believe we can remote view. I think telepathy, this is what I think about telepathy, is that as we are going through this process of awakening, I think without all the Wi-Fi and the radiation and everything, I think we'd also become more telepathic than we are. And so what they've done is they've almost overlaid our true connection, which is telepathy, with this fake AI connection. So I often wonder, you know, without all of this, would we be able to just clearly communicate by a thought, via thought? So, trust we are able to live free by elevating our perspective for higher faith in the eternal truth of our sovereignty. Sovereignty is so key, so key. And again, what they've done is they've inverted the word sovereignty because they've used it for them. So when we look at the royal family, they're called the sovereignty, aren't they? So so it's so clever. So when we automatically think of sovereignty, we're thinking of rulers. Okay, what we need is internal sovereignty, not external sovereignty. Internal sovereignty, where we become our own rulers and our own leaders. And what are the qualities of sovereignty? Sovereignty for me is discerning information. So it's because there's so much information out there right now, and even in alternative media, and there's a lot of disinformation out there. So discerning for me is, how does the information feel? Does it feel too good to be true? You know, because a lot of people are thinking solely with their feelings based on if it makes them feel good or not. That's not sovereignty. That's just being naive and just not discerning. How does the person's energy come across? You know, what are they saying? So it's about discerning. It's about not giving your power away. So realizing that you have your own power. So it's not to say you can't get a helping hand from people, because, you know, one person will be trained in something that you're not. If my electric breaks down, I'm going to call the electrician. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, just realizing your own power and your own gifts and embracing them. Sovereignty is also about putting us, undoing the fragmentation, okay, and putting ourselves back together again as a whole being. So we're fragmented in so many ways. So energetically, with a lot of the implants and attachments and stuff like that. But a lot of that is due to our own behavior. You know, many of us are out drinking alcohol, smoking weed, taking drugs, being promiscuous, keeping our energy clean, putting ourselves back together again emotionally. We are so fragmented. Our subconscious is so fragmented because of traumas in childhood, and even if you've had a good life, good upbringing, you know, there's still stuff there from unconscious parenting and school, and even previous lives, you know. And so we're so fractured in a subconscious level as well. So putting us back together on an emotional level, and of course physically as well. You know, we're just starting to realize that of all the poisons that they're putting in the food and the water and the air. Well, you know, let's start putting ourselves back together physically as well. You know, detoxing, eating right. So it's like spinning plates. I see it like spinning plates, and you know, that's how we continue to move on through this matrix, this game that we're in, I think. So the qualities of sovereignty are very important. And what else do I think? Yeah, the belief in authority has to go. The belief that you need a leader. The belief that your rights and freedoms are given to you by a dark suit. That is not a sovereign way of thinking. That has to go. What else? I like this topic. I like talking about sovereignty. realizing that it's not just about service to self. So what we see around us are many people that just, it's all about them. It's, making money and, what's in it for me, which is satanic in its very nature. And, you have people that you'll have friends and family, and you class them as a good person or a nice person. And the way I like to describe this is that they might be good or nice, lowercase nice and good, but higher case nice and good is where it's at. Because higher case good and nice is where you're not just concerned about you, but you realize that you're connected with everyone else. And if someone else is suffering, then that's your suffering as well. If someone else is hungry on the streets, then that's an expression of you also. So having that awareness that it's not just about you is also it's about everyone else as well. There was another thing that I was going to mention, but it's just gone out of my mind. What was it? Something about being sovereign. Oh God, it's gone. If it comes back, I'll talk about it. Authority, no. Responsibility, personal responsibility. Oh God, it's all coming back to me now. Personal responsibility. So a lot of people live in victim mode, and I'm not like putting down anyone's problems that they've had in their life. A lot of people have been through a lot of trauma. I work with a lot of people that have been through a lot of trauma. So does my partner. But put it this way, I've worked with people that have been through satanic ritual abuse, and they have come out the other side. I mean, you cannot go through anything worse than that, really. And not only have they come out the other side, they're actually thriving. And that is a testament to the human spirit. And it's a testament to what is possible for all of us. And we can all take inspiration from that. But what I also see is a lot of blame culture, a lot of victim mentality, people wanting to blame their mom, the government, the guy next door that said this thing to them that upset them. And, we have to deal with our own stuff. We have to take personal responsibility. Every action that we take, there is a counteraction. Natural law, understanding natural law, cause and effect. Every single thing, every decision that you make during the day has a counter effect, both positive or negative. So, you can choose, and I'm just using this as an example. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I still, I have to check in. But you're in the grocery store and you see cake. You see a load of cake. You like that cake. You take that decision to buy that cake and you eat it. Then that's going to have a negative effect on your health. That person that continues to hurt you and you allow them, then that's going to continue. So it's taking responsibility and making and taking right action. So that's also important. Right, okay, let's go back to questions because I'm rambling there. What have we got? Gone 48 minutes. Never trust me over. Right, okay, so mountains are known to have electric. Yep. Where do you think we are heading as a collective? Where do I think we're heading as a collective? It's a tough question. I just had a James Bartley on my podcast. I feel like there's a split. There's a timeline split, and it's a choice. I think there's and I think there's multiple different timelines that could play out. It depends on us. Is really the answer to that. At the moment, I just feel like we're, as I said at the start, I feel like we're getting somewhere. And I think hopefully that will lead to a much better reality. I don't think that level of darkness can be hidden forever. Um, if I did think that, I think I'd lose all hope. I just think that good is going to come out. It's going to win in the end. But that takes all of us to get involved. It takes us, all of us, to deal with our own stuff, do our inner work, and clean up, or take responsibility for our own actions. Because everything, the microcosm is always a reflection of the macrocosm. I've said this before. Perhaps there's the world is in so much trauma because we are as individuals. So I think it depends on us, really, is the answer to that. Kirk Plain, I see hell and abyss and heaven. And you could argue that we're in hell at the moment, seeing what's going on, but we can change it to heaven. Everything since 9/11 has been an effort to put us back to sleep. Yeah, 9/11 was a big turning point in this whole game, and I think there's going to be a new one soon, new 9/11. The physical symptoms that we could be having at this time. Wow. It's a very intense time energetically, and that's, when you add the Wi-Fi and the radiation and everything like that. This is why it's really important to try and keep your energy clean, and reject the things that are going to bring your frequency down to their level. But yeah, it's hard, certain months, the energy, I mean, the Schumann resonance at the moment is off the scale. So that also shows some positive stuff. People are different, some people are so sensitive. Like my partner, she'll just feel something if there's a shift or something, headaches, maybe not feeling so hungry. It really depends on the person. They day my energies are being harvested when I pray. Yeah, I don't see that word pray. When you look at the other meaning of that word, what does pray mean? A lion hunts for its prey. So when we're praying, is something siphoning off that worship energy. I mean, I'm not discouraging people from connecting with the higher essence or whatever, but I'm not sure about actually praying. I know I'm not crazy. Oops. Oh wow, I've got loads of questions here. Hang on. God, sorry, I'm trying to play catch up here. Might not be able to get through all of these. Thank you, though. No, not crazy. What are orbs? I mean, I've always been fascinated with the paranormal. Orbs for me are the way spirits express themselves before they manifest. You often see, if you go to some of these paranormal channels, where a spirit will turn from an orb into like an actual spirit, a form, if you like. So I think orbs are spirits unmanifest. That's my hunch on it. Right, I'm going to have to skim through some of these. Yeah, I know what you mean. Never trust about being around lots of other people. Can be very draining. It's not easy, like it's, people here and now on this planet, awake. It's really not easy. Anyone here is doing a really good job just to actually function, many spiritual powers. There certainly is. Yeah, Monsters Inc. was the androkinine. Can't say it. The film where they were talking about that. Androchrome. A lot of you have volunteered your DNA for new game we're creating. Do you know what? An interest. I don't know how many of you have looked into organ harvesting. That's another thing that's going on. Organs are big money, and they're actually harvesting people's organs before they die. So I've just opted out donating my organs with my country's NHS, the medical medical place there. Thank you. Tony is amazing. Thank you. His healing ability, folks. He helped me so much. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. I'm glad you're doing well. All humans have these demons attack. Yeah, I mean, you know, unfortunately, we live in a parasitic reality, and you know, most people have attachments to some degree or another, some more than others, depending on how much trauma the person's been through and how they live their lives. So yeah, that's it's good you're feeling clearer now. They've been removed. I'm going to skim through these because we're coming up to the hour. It's actually my partner's birthday, and she's probably waiting for me to see her. So nice game, thank you. Yeah, clair visual. Yeah, clair visual is basically when you can see into the astral, and that's something that I've developed just in the last couple of years. So we see things before it happens. Thank you guys, love. Yeah, if anyone's interested in what I do work-wise, sessions, you just go to my website, transcendingtimes.org. The information's there. I'll put a link in the description. I am also saying to everyone, it'd be really cool if you could subscribe to my newsletter, which is also on transcendingtimes.org. Again, I'll put that in the description for anyone watching this back, because you know, with all the censorship, I don't know how long, you know, hopefully this channel will stay up, but you never know. So I'd love to keep in contact, and the best way to do that is subscribing to my newsletter. I write every week to everyone, and just with what I'm doing and what I found and all that stuff. Right, okay, might as well divide in pictures first. Happy birthday to your partner. I will pass that on, Critical Thinker. She's doing great work as well. She's got a YouTube channel, True Sovereign Self. She really deals with the emotional, the subconscious work that I talk about. So check her out. Okay, what about others? Okay, I'm gonna check out now, guys. Sorry if I've missed your questions. It's just time's getting on, and this was a spontaneous one. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll do another one soon. I'll start to do more of these as we get more subscribers, and we'll get through some more questions next time. But thanks for taking part, guys. Thanks for the super chat, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.